So welcome everyone to our Friday National FIC Coalition meeting. We have quite a few things to update today, and we will get started today with Sara Hodson, who is our advocate for National, to share a few things with us about what we've been working on.
Thank you. Do you want me to describe the windmill behind me again? No, I'm kidding. So, obviously kind of we're entering the summer, but we're still continuing to refine our advocacy efforts, specifically in that medical expense category. So the biggest action that's happening kind of behind the scenes right now that I actually think is fairly exciting for us and for our entire industry is that we are doing a national poll of Canadians with a set number of questions. And this will be really good data for us to extrapolate from, be able to use in the media, and to use as we go back to Christia Freeland and her team to really kind of quantify our ask. So again, their biggest gap that they communicated to us in our debrief was, if we create this this tax deduction medical expense, if we make it eligible, are we sure that's going to actually inspire the behavior of people being more active? So how is this going to connect to this? So we worked with a national polling agency, and we have about 5 or 6 questions going out to Canadians. Some of them even just around kind of prior to COVID, how much activity were you doing? Questions about the medical expense category. Also questions about a tax credit, because we do believe that provincially, some of our provinces will be stronger than others in the ability to advocate for a tax credit. And as the FIC, we want to support every province to be able to go at that. So we have some questions in our polling for that. And we also have a question at the end of our poll, just really asking Canadians, like, are you going back to fitness facilities? Do you see yourself doing a blend of those? Do you see yourself doing none of those? And again, I think that this data will be really good for us to extrapolate and learn from and prepare and just empower our industry without us taking data from other countries. So that is actually the polling is going live in the next couple days, I believe, mid next week. And it takes 7 days for the polling to happen. Several thousands of Canadians are polled. And then it takes about another 7 days for us to have the data. So a great use of our membership dollars, a great use of our time, because I really believe that the results of this are going to help us move forward. So, any questions on that? Other than that, everyone is going into a little bit of vacation mode from MPs to bureaucrats and so forth. But where we are able to keep conversations open, we are, and we're doing as much kind of background work and preparation for September as possible. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Sara, for that update. Yeah, so the poll will be out, like Sara mentioned, next week. So hopefully we will be able to gain some good data that we can share with the government and the public as well. So the next thing I do want to bring up is our partnership with CFIBC, CFIB. I'm getting all my acronyms mixed up. Canadian Federation of Independent Business. There we go. And what we are going to be doing is working with them. And if you have an FIC membership, you are included to have a membership with them as well. And there are a lot of benefits that they are providing, whether it comes with HR benefits, organizational structuring, things like that. So really do take a look at the emails that have been sent. You should have received an email about what they are willing to offer the fitness industry when it comes to the partnership that is included. And on Tuesday, next Tuesday at 11:30 Mountain Time, they are providing a webinar that they will invite you to. So you should be getting an email from them. If you haven't received an email from them yet, let me know, because it is a registration link that you do have to sign up for that webinar. And once you get that, they will invite you to this webinar on Tuesday that will let you know all the benefits that you get from them and how you can use the benefits for your business. So that is a really good session to be involved in, especially if you're a FIC member. And if you're not an FIC member yet, please do consider becoming an FIC member. As you know, it is $40 per month per location. And you can just become a member over on our website in the members section. And then once you become a member, you will have access to all of these benefits as well. So if you want to check out what those benefits are before becoming a member of FIC, please let me know and I will let you, or I'll send you the details on that, or invite you to the actual webinar as well so you can see what it's about. Scott, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I think it's a great value add. And, as owners, entrepreneurs, suppliers, I think there's just a suite of services there that you'll find very beneficial. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, and Karen, I see your message in the chat box about telling other companies and encouraging to be members. Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you know of any other fitness facilities that are currently not members of FIC who will see the benefit of this as a bonus of becoming a member of FIC, they should definitely know about it and learn about it. So please do share this information as much as possible. Next week, we'll actually also be doing a little bit of a social campaign on this partnership. So once that's up on our social media, please do feel free to share it as well, because we want to make sure it is known that this is a partnership that is happening. Yeah. All right, so that being said, let's move on to our section on provincial updates. And let's start with BC.
BC, here's BC. Hey everybody, how's it going? In British Columbia, we entered phase 3 of our dial back on July 1st, which allowed for fitness and sport to reopen as normal with no restrictions. All businesses other than large events, casinos, and some others have transitioned from COVID-19 plans to a communicable disease plan, CD plan for short. We were happy to give our members in British Columbia, FIC members, a heads up on the this coming, the communicable disease plan and what it would entail coming prior to July 1st. We weren't unfortunately able to confirm that July 1st was going to be the date, but we were able to work as a group in BC and the FIC on what the CD plan would look like and feel like ahead of time as it pertains to fitness. So that was great. Most gyms in BC have taken a dial back approach, similar to what Blake was suggesting on the last call that I was on, with staff continuing to wear masks and some of the barriers and restrictions remaining in place to ensure a comfortable transition for our members and our staff in phase 3 here in British Columbia. So that's good to see. It hasn't been long since masks have become recommended in BC as opposed to required. So in BC, if you're double vaccinated, you do not have to wear a mask. It is recommended to wear a mask if you're not. We haven't seen a drastic uptick in cases here since that transition. So we're hopeful that the vaccine efficacy and the number of British Columbians vaccinated will prevent any further increases in case count. So in the last 2 days, we've seen about 50 cases per day-ish. Again, we're only about 8 or 9 days past the date that people sort of were relaxed here in British Columbia. So we'll see where that goes. But so far the numbers indicate positive there. The feel from our group in British Columbia as we moved into July 1st and then now July 9th is that group fitness and individual gym owners and operators are reporting that people are flooding back into our facilities, so members and guests. Group classes have filled up instantly. In some spin studios, for example, we got updates that as soon as it was acknowledged that July 1st was the date, a lot of our spin studios in British Columbia, the groups out here, the classes immediately were full, which is good to see. And then in other group settings as well, I work out at a group fitness studio out here in British Columbia. The class counts do seem to be increasing, which is really good to see. Our group has been working specifically with the CFIB. I wrote it down here, Trisha, so I'm cheating. Specifically with Sam in British Columbia with the CFIB to create a communication strategy that would have the FIC work with the provincial government as well as the hardest hit sectors in British Columbia to come together with a marketing strategy supporting the industries this summer. So the marketing would be a play on Dr. Henry's infamous Eat, Stay, Play in British Columbia. And so we're communicating with the leaders in the restaurant industry, the travel industry, the tourism industry, and big event industry. And our hope is that we can tap into a budget that Tourism BC has for some advertising to support the creation and advertising costs of this initiative. So to get people eating in restaurants, staying in hotels, and playing in gyms. So we really want to be a part of this approach. So we're coming up with the idea, coming up with a strategy, working to get it funded. And our hope is that we can tie fitness in with some of these other big industries that have been the hardest hit. So we have a lot of work ahead of us. Sarah and I continuously are trying to advocate for this through the government, through public health, but CFIB has been particularly helpful in this strategy, and we've had a few meetings with them over the last couple of weeks. So there's another benefit, another add-on benefit from the CFIB, and that's British Columbia. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Alberta. Scott, do you want to take this one on?
Sure. So Alberta has entered stage 3 of our summer reopen plan, which basically is the only restrictions are masks must be worn on public transit and in government buildings. Calgary was the last city to repeal its mask bylaw and just did. So what this means for facilities is they're open without restrictions. What many have done is kind of like what Carl was alluding to, is they've maintained staff wearing masks, or they have some classes with lower capacities just to cater to those members who might have that level of comfort. But same thing, we've seen a flood of members, excuse me, come back into the facilities, into the studios. I know in Gym Movement, we had 50 people in a Zumba class. So people are pretty excited about it, and you know, it's looking really well. People are in much better spirits, and case counts continue to stay low. So we've been open now for 8 days, and you know, new cases in the province are around the 30 to 40 per day. So hopefully that trend continues. So that's the update from Alberta. It's looking really positive.
Great, thank you, Scott. Do we have anybody here from Saskatchewan? Wasn't sure if I saw Jolene on here, so we might have to miss Saskatchewan today. Manitoba.
Okay, well, it's very positive out west, I guess. Things are going good here as well. Cases continue to go down. We're still stuck in phase 1 of our reopening plan here. So that's 25% occupancy, 3 meters physical distancing, and masks are still mandatory. But we did hit our second milestone, I believe, on Tuesday. And there's talk of a press conference next week to announce some changes for the following weekend. I'm assuming that would lift the 3 meters and probably shift us to 50% occupancy. I'm not sure. But again, there's really been no communication on that front. We did submit a few proposals, one about using the vaccine passport that Manitoba has in order to have different restrictions if people are vaccinated. So far, the public health hasn't been responsive to that. We'll just keep kind of pushing it because they're spending money on the vaccine passport. We have a physical card. You also have an app thing that you can show people. But again, our industry as a whole can't use it yet. So we're hoping that we can start doing that in the future. What we have been working on that is positive is we've been pushing for a fitness tax rebate. Probably about 6 months now, we've been back and forth on this. And our last kind of communication was in tangent with the CFIB. So I've been working with John at the CFIB pretty much since the beginning of COVID, long before we kind of joined forces here. But he's been kind of my guy who has the connection, and he has confirmed, you know, that our Minister of Finance has seen our proposal. They like the idea, but what they're going to do is they're going to do further market research to kind of figure out if tax incentives like that actually pay off in the end. So what they're going to do is a little bit of research that has nothing to do with us, just to see if these tax rebates do anything for anyone. So we're going to wait and see kind of what that does for us here. But it sounds like they were okay with this idea of $500 per person that can go towards a fitness facility membership, personal training, sports, all that kind of stuff, with a cap of $2,000 per household. So it is substantial, and we're hoping that if this does pass, it'll pass by the fall, because that's when we kind of need that momentum, right? That's when things really build up. This is a slow time for everyone, regardless whether or not of COVID. It's slow right now, but again, it'll build up come the fall, and we'd really love to see new people incentivized by just having those extra costs there. So other than that, I'm not sure if I have anything else here. But I will update you guys if that does change in the future. So
Thanks, Dino. And I see in the chat that Sara is offering to assist and support in your provincial ask as well. So if you're not connected already, I can connect the both of you.
for sure.
Yeah. All right, so Ontario.
Yep, give you guys a quick update. So in Ontario, we have about 77% of the population that has their first vaccine. 50% have their second vaccine. In our cases continue to be under 200, which is fantastic. Just today, it was announced that we will be accelerating our stage 3. So we're going to be opening up July 16th versus, I believe it was the 22nd. So we are currently scheduled for July 16th. With that, there hasn't been any kind of specific instructions with regards to restrictions for the gyms, other than 50% capacity and 2 meters distance. Nothing else has come out yet, unless Blake, I'm not sure if you have seen anything.
Yeah, we're trying to figure that out, Andy. I'm not sure, but it does appear it might involve masking during exercise. Have you seen that yet, or?
I haven't seen it. I was just on. I've been on the government. The government website has it updated as well now to July 16th. But they haven't updated any kind of specific restrictions other than what we've seen in the media with 50% capacity and 2 meters. That's all I've seen so far.
Has anybody else seen anything like that? There's this clause 2.4 that exempts people in the original restrictions from having to wear a mask during certain activities, but I can't find that anywhere. So we're feverishly searching, because it's a huge thing, right? Like, it's the difference between, I mean, it's probably 25% of your people coming back.
Yeah, and I'm hoping, I'm hoping that in Ontario they provide some more clarity around restrictions for recreation facilities. Who knows if we'll see that, but I'm hoping they provide that early next week if possible. I'm going to circle back with Jeff as well, because I know Jeff has been involved in some of those discussions with the government. With regards to, moving forward. So actually next week, we're having Sara, Carl, and Gabriel join us for our provincial coalition meeting, just to give some insight to our members with regards to reopening, what they can expect, and just some overall strategies and recommendations for a successful reopening and re-engaging the member population. So we're looking forward to that. And focus going forward from our group is going to be advocacy going forward to build consumer confidence. So really getting out there, trying to build consumer confidence, get people coming back to the gyms, and trying to work with media to spotlight success stories rather than the anomaly rogue gym, and that's gonna be something we're gonna be focused on going forward. And that's it for Ontario for right now.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Let's go to Quebec.
Bonjour tout le monde, bienvenue. Bonjour. It's moving fast here. we are open since a while now. The gyms are like classes and everything is open. The mask is not mandatory anymore when you train, but you need to put the mask on when you walk in the gym, walk in, walk out, and everywhere else that you're not actually training. It's going fine here. Clients are coming back. For sure, it's summer for everybody, so the attendance are lower than usual, but it's okay. Like we are very fortunate to be open this way. Yesterday, there was a big announcement by the government that they're going to put, if the cases are going up, and the date is September 1, if the cases are going up, they're going to put a passport, vaccine passport, that is going to be mandatory. So if you're not, if you don't have your shot or 2 shots, you cannot enter some places. But for sure, it's bringing 2 sides. Like everybody can be happy about it, and a lot of media called me yesterday to know what is the position of the FIC in Quebec about that. And in one way, it's really a good news, because it's the first time they allow some businesses like ours, and they are saying, hey, even if it's going up, you're going to be able to stay open and keep your employee working and everything. So on that side, it's really a good news. But on the other side, we are kind of different than many other businesses. Like if you go to a restaurant and you want to enter and you don't have your passport, you cannot enter, so you will not order anything. But if you come to a gym and you pay a membership, we are supposed to deliver the membership to you, and now we don't want you to come in because you don't have the 2 or the passport or whatever. So this is another problem. So yesterday we were asked what is our position, and I thought it was a good position to take, to say, hey, it's going to be safer again. So our gyms are safe since day 1, and by doing that, we're going to be safer, you know. So to say we will be there for population and for health, and in the safest way as possible. So we are behind all the measures, but there's the problem with the membership. So this is what happened yesterday. I'm working with CFIB also, with Francis here. We've been having 2 or 3 meetings since the beginning when they come with us. I transferred to them all the stuff we did with the government since a year, and they have a lot of connection that they are gonna help us with. And also with we have something here with the protection du consommateur, that is to having some problems with the laws and everything here. So they're gonna help us this way. And for the rest, about on Monday, it's 1 meter. If you come to any businesses, it's 1 meter, and it's you don't have any volume in your gym, or people, like a number of people that can come in, but the gyms. So for us, the 2 meters stays. So this is another problem. Yesterday in the press conference, we were again presented like a high risk business. So it's always hard for us to hear that, because obviously we don't have, instead of the crazy guy in Quebec that was not following the rules, all the gyms were all right. So so that's it. So we kind of try to bring the media and all the public opinion to think the gyms are safe, and this is why I was yesterday behind the measures and saying it will be good for us. So this is what is happening. So till September, it's going to be 2 meters that stay in the gym. You're going to have to wear your mask whenever you're not actually training, and the capacity will have to respect the 2 meters. And in September, we don't know yet, but with the passport, maybe we're going to come back to a normal life with the advantage or positive stuff, but also maybe some problem that are going to come with dealing with the clients. So this is the update.
If you don't mind, I will add up two little things on that, Gabriel, which was very good. One nuance that we have with the vaccination passport, it's that the vaccination passport starting 1st September, they will use it if there is a fourth wave. So it's not automatic. So the nuance that they say, which is positive in my vision, is that if there is in a region, if there is wave 4 or if there is a crisis in a region, then the passport vaccination will be applied in certain business like our businesses. But it's not going to be done automatically September 1st. It's really the reason of that. It's really to motivate people to go and get their vaccination, their 2 doses, and particularly the younger crowd in Quebec, which is really the one that resists the most in it. So the vaccination passport is not automatic.
Evelyn, do you want to re-unmute your mic? Sorry, it wasn't you. There you go. Okay.
Sorry. Oh, did
It's
you
okay.
hear what I said?
We heard the first one, yes.
Okay, the first one. And the second one is in Group X, we still have the limit of 25 in a group. So when I heard that you were 50 in a Zumba class, I was kind of, oh my God, I don't know when we're going to see that again in our gym. But for the moment, we are still limited to 25% in the classes. We can have 50 outside, but not inside. So that was just the 2 little add up to that. Thank you.
And thank you, Evelyn. And for some businesses, because that aspect was asked yesterday, like to keep the 2 meters is still a big problem in some businesses, that the business case or the business model is to be a lot of people in small areas. So we still have to talk with government for subsidy or help, because a lot of businesses like yoga classes or even Orange Theory or some spinning classes and everything, if you have to keep 2 meters, your business model is screwed up. So we still have to talk with government to try to find ways to help those kind of businesses. And another thing with the passport is also for the employees. They don't know yet what they will do with employees. So if you have one employee that is not vaccinated, is he going to be able to come and work, or you will have to ask him not to come to work, but then who's going to pay? And all this structure is not clear right now. So CFIB is working hard on that side, because it's not not only for our businesses like the gyms, but for the membership way. We're kind of alone in that kind of business to have membership and stopping people from using the membership if they don't have the passport. So this is another side of the deal CFIB is doing. So this is the update.
Trisha, we should actually ask CFIB specifically if they're looking into human rights legislation, because my understanding is human rights trumps everything else. And, if you have an employee, like Gabriel's point right there, if you have an employee who's not vaccinated and you deny them work, are you now breaching their human rights? So I think this is just a matzo ball that we need to really get a handle on, because we don't want anybody in our association, going through any human rights claims, human rights tribunals because of this nonsense. I'll also, just on another note, there was an article in the Calgary Herald 2 days ago. Most fines have been tossed. So anybody who got a ticket, who got a fine for breaching any of the public health orders, most of those are getting tossed out now. So, which is a real black eye on the government's part. So I think we really need to get a handle on this vaccine passport and from a human rights standpoint. Otherwise, it's just going to be a nightmare.
But there's something like right now, if you work in hospital and you're in a odd zone, they call it, like with COVID and everything, and you're not vaccinated, you have to pass tests, I think, each and every 2 days or 3 days and come with tests. So CFIB, when I talked to them today, they said they are pushing for the quick tests at home or something like this. So your employee that are not vaccinated could just bring quick tests and say, hey, I'm all right. But for sure, it's kind of a puzzle for the government, because they cannot force somebody not to work if they are not paying the full salary for him not to work. His workplace is open, so they are. And this is not only for us. I was speaking with him, and it was, imagine in a restaurant, like your chefs are not able to come to work because all your restaurant is closing because your chef are not there. So all this stuff is work right now, but the fast testing is supposed to be a way to allow people that are not vaccinated or don't have the passport to still work. And they are saying maybe there will be some rules for vaccine people and some rules for people that are not vaccinated. So you put a mask, and this one is allowed not to put a mask, and blah blah. But for sure, this is a big puzzle, and kind of a weird way they are entering.
But to add up to that, the question of human rights, Scott, was already taught this week. And this is why it's already part of the thinking process, and this is why they were not able to tell us this is how it's going to happen with employee, because of the human right. So it's already the center of the question right now. It's about respecting human rights, and they know, and they said it's going to be complicated. So they walk a little bit on eggshell. And it's good because it's really an eggshell problem. So, but it's already in the thinking process, and it was already announced also that way, that the human right will have to be respected in that.
It's not only human rights; it's also the labor standards code here in BC, at least. And you are not. Like as far as I know, Dr. Bonney had yesterday announced that in long-term care facilities, they can request that people are vaccinated. So far, this is not for anybody else. But I went to a labor law seminar, and they basically said you cannot ask if somebody's vaccinated. You cannot say, for example, you want because you have to accommodate. But at the same token, you can't say, so these people are vaccinated and the non-vaccinated people need to wear a mask. You can't do that because by default, you are violating their privacy by basically shaming them of not being vaccinated. So I'm gonna send it to Trisha. I have a blog, but it's from my law company, and sort of it's their intellectual property. Trisha can somehow maybe make it so that the name is out, and then share it with the rest of them, with the rest of you. So that would, I don't know if that would help, but I've asked already, and nobody really knows what to do.
Just to be clear, guys, the purpose of the Quebec government doing this is pushing the last block of people who aren't at 75%, which all we're left now is the 18 to the 29-year-olds. So it's no one's surprise that, number one, they're saying you can go back to in-person college and university if you're double vaccinated. So so they're using it as a bit of a threat. If you want to go back to school, if you want to go back to work, get double vaccinated. And since they even mentioned the vaccine passport this year, 6,000 more people of that age group booked their appointments. So it's not going to help the ones that are anti-vaccine, but I'm just going to wait crowd, the procrastinators, are waking up and going to it. So it may or may not even come into play when it comes to September 1st. But when they keep talking about the non-essential services, they mention gyms, bars, and restaurants, which is where the 18 to 29-year-olds work. So they're doing this to they're not far, they're like between 67 and 72%, but that's the last group that's missing in Quebec. The population's at 81, one vaccine, but that's the last group that's missing to get to at least one vaccine. And they're doing it to light a fire under their butts, get them out of the patios and get them vaccinated during the summer in the hopes that they don't even have to impose the vaccine passport. But everything's in place in case, like Evelyn said, if there are surges in cases again. We're happy that they're giving us you don't have to close again alternative. But a lot of our members yesterday were actually saying, which is a thinker of us, and I know we want to be I know we're trying to be as neutral as possible when it is, but a lot of our members are saying up to 25% of their staff, trainers, instructors, etc., are, as they quoted it, anti-vaccine. And so it's something to think about for our industry. If a quarter of some of our people's staff are anti-vaccine, yet we also want to be seen as essential because we believe in health, we're going to have to skate around this in a way that allows us to be supported by the government and the general public. The general public is not against this. The general public is at majority vaccinated, and they want the people who are apparently taking care of their health and supporting them in their health and fitness goals to be health minded. So there's a lot of that kind of conversation happening behind the scenes since it was announced in Quebec.
And
Something to
also,
think about.
The other thing is, like I was saying at the beginning, it's to go to the crowd, the younger crowd, and they decide to change the way they approach it, because like they were saying, the way they approach it first, it make a big part of the population doing it. Now it was not working anymore. We changed the approach, and that approach also underline. It's talking about being free, to be able to take your own decision. You can decide what you want, but there will be some consequences. You are free. Alors, take the decision that you want to take, and it's really the discourse, the way, the language they wanted to use with the younger crowd. It's not you have to, it's more you're free, but if you don't do it, there is consequences, and these consequences will happen if we lose control again of the situation. So I think that it's one of the first time that it's really clear, the message, actually, and very like you are free. And this is really how they approach it, instead of you're not going to be able to do this and that. Say you can do what you want, but this will happen. And which is for us
on that, maybe there's something else after, because they are also preparing for the in the hospital right now. They talk about the 4th wave and the 5th wave. Here in Quebec, they expect a 4th wave in October and a 5th wave in December. So I think they are planning also everything to be set for the 3rd dose and the 4th dose eventually. And as the world needs to be vaccinated more, we will get vaccinated every 6 months and for the 2 years to come. So all this process is going to be able to keep the business open and make sure people are still getting their 3rd dose and 4th dose, because as we can see in the United States, everybody went for the 1st dose, they open everything, and then people are not going to the appointment of the 2nd dose, and this is bringing a lot of stress because everything can fall apart. There's many countries that I was talking with a Russian yesterday, and they have 10,000 cases there, and they are still closing stuff. So the world is not done with the COVID. So I think all this process will help the business stay open. For sure, it will hurt right stuff for human rights and everything. But if they can try it and walk on eggshell and control it and maybe improve it, it's just gonna help our industry to stay open longer. And to finish on that, in the media yesterday, I said there's an opportunity for us, because there's been a crisis without the gyms open, like a pandemic without gyms. So all the stress in the population and depression and physical activity was undermined and everything. So we saw obesity gaining up and every bad aspect of not being physically healthy. And now we can have a pandemic with the gyms open, and we're going to be able to see the difference if there's one. And I think this is the target we want to focus on, and maybe the opportunity we have to show we can be a difference in the process. So this is why we took the positive side of things yesterday. In
I think this is a valuable conversation to have. Sorry not to interrupt, but I think one of the things that I just keep thinking as we're talking about vaccine passports in the future and all of that is that I just sit here pissed off that the province of Ontario does not have fitness open today. And I think it's exciting that they've decided to move phase whatever the heck it is to the 16th of July. But from what I understand, the restrictions in this next phase are not going to really be supportive of the fitness business either. So I think that's one of the things that we should just quickly discuss. And if there's anything that other provinces, and I know Manitoba's in a tough spot as well, but let's take our 2 or 3 most restrictive provinces, and especially I think, sorry, Dino, I don't remember where we're at in Manitoba, but if Ontario gyms are not open right now, that's just horseshit. And I think that if we can all support provinces that have more restrictions and maybe Ontario and Manitoba and even Saskatchewan. I think maybe Saskatchewan's more ahead, but how can we support you guys? Can we flood Ford's inbox with letters and emails? I know you guys are doing all that you can. I know that there's a marketing campaign out there, and I see on LinkedIn that Good Life is involved as well, and that's fantastic. What can we do to support you? Because I don't think we should be sitting here excited that phase 3 at 25% capacity maybe in Ontario is a win, right? Is there anything that we can do to support?
So it won't be 25%.
50.
50. Well, there you go.
It's 50, and we just got, and as we're on this call, we just got confirmation that masks are not required during exercise. They are required though, exiting and entering during transitions. So that's good.
That's reasonable.
But to your point, Carl, I don't think there's anything you guys can do or any of us can do for Ontario other than, like, I think as an industry, we've got to wade into this thing and with caution. We've got to be responsible, protect our staff and our members. That involves having, continuing to offer a portion of our services in distance and capacity. What we don't need is what happened in Ontario a few days ago with this, the media is just looking for, and you guys heard me that were on the Ontario call before. I knew that was going to happen. We were totally making ourselves a target by trying to take advantage of, the legislation, and they were just waiting for a story like that to happen. And the reason why we're opening at 50% in Ontario is because that happened. So I think as an industry, we've got to be responsible, and that's why listen, I think these calls are great because we all have to be aligned with like doing what's right as opposed to just like thinking we're out of this thing. We're not going to be out of this thing for years, and we've got to find ways of showing the public that we're a responsible industry. That's the best thing we can do is all be responsible operators. And that if you want to help Ontario, just make sure none of the bullshit that occurred earlier this week happens again somewhere else. We just can't be, we have to know that we're under the microscope and we need good stories, not bad stories.
And maybe, Carl, to add on what you said, the point is when we are presenting what's happening here, it's because since the beginning of the COVID, we've been maybe 6 weeks or 2 months, maybe prior to what's happening everywhere else. And for Ontario, we can maybe show what's happening for them to maybe propose it after to the government, because we're the next province to just decide. So the reality is not that different. And if the passport is for us, the first, we're gonna get hit by the passport first, and we're gonna have a lot of things to negotiate. And if we can share this, it's just helping after to propose some stuff to government. So I'm aligned with what Blake was saying. Since the beginning of the crisis, we've been doing so much here in Ontario and Quebec and asking government, and for sure they are not listening a lot to what we want or what we ask or whatever. So if we can just align ourselves on what's happening and how we adapt to it, maybe it's gonna help the other provinces.
I vented, I feel better. Thanks, guys.
Any other comments or questions for today?
I don't have
some
a comment.
not related to provincial updates, but I can wait.
Same here.
I can just quickly speak to the vaccine passport here. It is actually being used in certain capacities. So restaurants are allowed to seat people from different households together if they have the vaccine passport. And we have an app in Manitoba that I have on my phone here that I can scan somebody's vaccine passport, and it'll show green if they've been double vaccinated. It doesn't show any health details or anything like that, but it is being used. So I know that there are gyms in Manitoba that have opted to go vaccinated only. So I would assume that they're using that system to determine who's allowed to enter. And these are boxing and martial arts gyms where people are in close contact. They're doing their, their own risk assessment in terms of like who should be allowed in the facility to do these types of activities. But they have that system in place and they are using it. And that's one thing we did ask the government here Are there ways we can have reduced, let's say, reduced capacity in spin class if we have this vaccine passport? If everybody's vaccinated, could we put a few more people in a spin class or something like that? So it'll be interesting to see how this rolls out in other provinces. But for now, I know that using this system is kind of up to the discretion of the facility, but it can't go against the current health orders. So I can't increase my capacity if I say everyone's vaccinated. I can't do that. But I could say I only want vaccinated members. I could say that if that's the route I wanted to go. So I just wanted to kind of make you guys aware that it is being used here, and especially in the restaurant industry, it's definitely being used a lot.
I'll add to that too. In Manitoba, for some sporting events too, you can only go if they scan your passport and you're vaccinated. So I think capacity up to 2,000 at like a professional soccer game, and so it's being used kind of in those bigger events too.
Thank you. Let's go to the non-provincial updates then. Maybe we can go with Scott and then Mo.
Yeah, so just a couple things. In August, we do have our leadership award that we will be presenting, and that is in conjunction with our partners at CanFit Pro. So it'll be during the closing ceremonies of the August conference. So the date and time will be Saturday, August 14th at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. So definitely we'd love to have everybody attend that virtual event. And just a plug for the conference, the CanFit Pro August conference looks like a great lineup of presenters, speakers, and I know FIC, we are hosting a State of the Union. We're also sponsoring the Prescription to Get Active conversation. So Friday the 13th, Friday, August 13th, Saturday, August 14th, some great content available there. So I just wanted to let everybody know that. And then we're also having our annual general meeting in August. Trisha, do we have a date for that?
So it's usually always on the Friday, which is the 13th, and we'll just arrange a time and let everyone know.
Yeah, and then at that one, again, another must attend event because we'll be voting on the new board members. And so just a reminder that if you'd like to nominate a new board member or the new president position, please submit those by the end of this month. And that's it for me.
Yeah, to submit, just send me an email and a description of who it is that you would like to nominate and why.
And I'll follow that up. Thanks, Scott, for reading my mind. By the way, at that closing award ceremony, it'll be preceded with our closing keynote speaker, Chantal Petitclerc. And she's a huge advocate for the fitness industry, as those who know her. She was very instrumental in helping us out when we went to Ottawa a couple of years ago with Prescription Get Active, and her keynote will be outstanding, just as she is. For those who may not know her, she is Canadian Olympic champion and world record holder, which she reminded me yesterday. She's still the world record holder in her sport. So it's definitely going to be an injection of inspiration and strength for all of us, which of course we all can certainly benefit from. And lastly, I just want to give a shout out to one of our provincial council members who's here with us today, Kate McKenzie, formerly known as Catherine. She is a finalist, a top 3 finalist for Personal Trainer of the Year at CanFit Pro. And that award will be presented on that day and as well in the award ceremony. So just a big shout out to you, Kate, for all that you do.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Is there anything else anybody would like to mention before we wrap up today? No, looks like we are done. Well, enjoy your Friday, everyone, and we will speak again in a couple weeks.